Zach Martin, longtime Cowboy, 7-time All-Pro guard for Dallas, has informed the team he plans to retire, according to the NFL Network. Martin's just 34 years old, likely Hall of Famer in 5 years. The big news of the day, although the Spurs play the Suns in Austin at 8:30 tonight, they announced they've lost Victor Wembanyama for the season. We're talking about it on Extra Innings with Pleasure.
Sports Center brought to you by Synergenics Testosterone and Weight Loss. SynergenicsHealth.com.
This is Extra Innings with Pleasure.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Rock and roll! The Texans win it!
You've been called the Da Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't paint.
That goal is history. A walk-off home run.
And it's going to be legendary.
James Pledger wraps your day with insight, opinion, plenty of sarcasm, and of course, your calls. He'll even pour a beer out the door for his favorite story of the day. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. Now, here's Pledge.
What's up, Danger? Can't stop me now. Welcome into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I am James Pledger. Thanks for joining me. Whether you're joining on the radio at 94.1 on your FM dial, if you happen to be listening online at sasportstar.com via our AA Best Bail Bonds audio player, or if you're watching live on YouTube, that's right, we stream all of our shows on YouTube. Just search SA Sports Star on YouTube. Go ahead and like, subscribe. You can comment along with the show as it goes. Goldfinger, Albert, Ram, everybody up in the chat already. I appreciate y'all down there in the bullpen. GI, y'all are the real ones. And a lot of questions already coming in. Ram with the comment that it's time for the Spurs to start growing with their future backcourt of Castle and Fox. I don't disagree with that. But, Goldfinger is asking if it's the same issues with Wemby that stopped Chris Bosh from playing. Yeah, kind of. It's what they call deep vein thrombosis. Bosh had it in his legs. It is essentially a blood clot, and the bad parts of these things, and I'm talking to nurses today, so the bad things about this type of injury, as it were, is the worst case is some of the worst, and we should all just be thankful they've caught this, and it's seemingly heading in a great direction. He should be back next year. It's a blood clot in the veins, can break off, travel to the brain, cause a stroke. We've already dealt with that this year. Travel to the heart and cause a heart attack, pulmonary avulsion, or it can travel to the lungs and cause breathing issues. It's known as DVT. That's terrifying. Like, just that on its face, like what can happen with a blood clot and what it can break off and do is terrifying. How to keep it from doing that, being on blood thinners, also somewhat terrifying. So this thing could go at any moment, or there's a lot of nuance and retrospect, and we had a couple of doctors on today. As a matter of fact, Dr. Josh Bell of the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics joined Joe on the Blitz. We'll play a little bit of that so we get a better understanding of what Wemby's dealing with, what his return to play is like, and what his rehab will be on something to this nature. And I know a lot of people, I saw it immediately. I had people texting, it's Spurs tanking, it's time to pull the plug on the whole season. Like, I understand wanting to be first in this nature of viral and everything that we are currently in right now, but can we breathe for 2 minutes and consider the well-being, the well-nature, just the human empathy part of life as it pertains to Victor Wembanyama and his future, and what he, especially after dealing with things that went on with Pop this season, might be going through his head, might have just kind of noodling around up there as he's told about this. I mean, empathy is real, people. And this story, since we know he has now been shut down for the season, isn't going anywhere. We can rehash whether it's a soft tank, whether they're going after draft picks or whatever it may be at a later date. The first things out of our mouths should be, oh my goodness, prayers to Wemby. I hope everything goes all right with him, because if this wasn't caught the way it was, because he had been wearing down, and I thought it was just a symptom of playing for 3 years straight, not having a big man down low, and him looking gassed at the end of a lot of games lately. Turns out that may have been the symptom to the bigger issue at large, which was this blood clot forming in his shoulder. And that's a terrifying thing that none of us could foresee this happening. And it was over the break that he still was tired and worn down, and which is why he went through these battery of tests, as we heard from Shams Charania over the last 24 to 48 hours. This is serious. This is life. And we have become such a microwave society in terms of wanting to be first to something, wanting to have the hottest take about something, we forget to be people at times. We forget to have empathy towards our fellow humans. And to me, my first thought was, oh my God, what is deep vein thrombosis other than something that makes me during the show want to play Jerry laughing? But it also, once you find out it's a blood clot, what can happen if a blood clot goes terribly wrong, which it can, those things are terrifying. And you realize how close we could have been to, a limb bias situation, because it's just in there, hanging out, hanging around, and can break loose at any moment and change a life forever, change a franchise forever, change a family forever, change anything forever. And I implore people, society, y'all listening at home, y'all listening at the radio, y'all listening on YouTube, you guys listening via the AA Best Bail Bonds audio player at sasportsr.com. Human decency at times. This isn't about a tank. This isn't about anything more than a very serious medical issue that we should just pray that Victor Wembanyama is now found the issue, seeking treatment, and on the road to recovery. And we wish him a speedy recovery, into which players like Brandon Ingram and Asar Thompson, who have dealt with similar upper body blood clots, returned the following season. And Asar Thompson, as recently as last season, getting this found and returning this season to play for the Detroit Pistons, who we will be seeing on Friday night or on Saturday night at the Moody Center up there in Austin. So, human decency. It is great. Empathy is a beautiful thing. I encourage us and implore us to use it more than we have been in recent years, especially as social media continues to seemingly chip away at it. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger, right here on San Antonio Sports Star. I teased it. Dr. Josh Bell of the Sports Institute out at TSAOG Orthopedics joined Joe on the Blitz a little bit earlier this afternoon out there at Roundtable Pizza, discussing the deep vein thrombosis and basically not only what it is, how it affects Wemby, but the return and what we're looking at and how worried we should be. That's all coming up here on Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 FM.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-505-9603, 800-505-9603, 800-505-9603.
Hi, welcome to Staples. Hi, I hear Staples can print it all for my business.
Oh, if you can think it, Staples can print it, and will beat any print quote.
Oh, great. I'm thinking new brochures and yard signs.
No problem.
I'm thinking calendars, t-shirts, and pens.
Totally.
I'm thinking Staples is the place for printing.
I thought you might think that.
Right now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Ends 4/5 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
Huge news. Right now at Wendy's, you can get a Son of Baconator for just $3. I don't think you understand this situation. The Son of Baconator is only $3 for a limited time. You know, smoked bacon, rich melted cheese. That Son of Baconator is only $3. Thank you to whoever wished upon that star. For bacon that just won't quit, gotta be Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii, not valid in a combo or on third-party delivery platform.
Order for Jennifer C.
Is this my double shot, double cream, double froth, double pump, double whip, double sleeve?
Yeah. Can you handle that much caffeine?
Did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, really? That's great.
Seriously, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, you just said that.
Did you say I just said that?
Yeah, I'm cutting you off.
I can't have any more? Why not?
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
We're definitely going to be late to the concert. I feel like we should be there by now.
I'm just taking a little detour. I got to fill up my gas tank, and I know this place a couple towns over where the gas is cheaper.
Are you serious? We're going to be late for the concert because you're driving out of the way for cheaper gas? Just use Upside.
What's Upside?
Upside is the free cashback app that gets you real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait, I can get cash back just for buying the gas I need anyway?
Yes, I use it all the time, and I've made around $200. Now pull over so you can download the Upside app before we miss the concert.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code LIFE to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank, PayPal, or as a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code LIFE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code LIFE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus. That's code LIFE.
Your home for the Dallas Cowboys is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com, and on YouTube at SA Sports Star. Go ahead, like, subscribe, comment along with the show. Appreciate all y'all joining through. Look, the big news of the day is the deep vein thrombosis that Victor Wembanyama has suffered that will cause him to miss the remainder of the season. Earlier today on the Blitz, Joe Reinagel was joined by Dr. Josh Bell of the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics to kind of help us break down what deep vein thrombosis is and what Wemby's return to the court may look like.
Joining us now on the Buyers Barricades guest line is Dr. Josh Bell with the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Bell, I hope you're staying warm and enjoying this Thursday.
Yeah, it's a cold day out here. It's a cold day and not good news for the Spurs in San Antonio today for sure.
Boy, that is for sure. I tell you what, everybody's been a little bit down, Doc, and it's And I think it's really because of the unknown, right? We really don't know exactly what we're dealing with here, although it seems like things aren't maybe as bad as they could be. But the first thing you can explain to us is, what is vein thrombosis?
It's basically a blood clot, and so the blood clots that happen, basically, you've got the high pressure system of your circulatory system, and that's the arteries, and then the low pressure system, that's the valves. So the valves, the veins that bring it back through bring the blood back to the heart. So that lower pressure system, sometimes for different reasons, we deal with it sometimes after surgery, someone can get, a blood clot, which is just blood that coagulates inside the vessel of the veins. And that's essentially what he's dealing with. And it's in his shoulder, which is a little less common than the lower legs. We see that a little more commonly, but that's what he's got. It's blood that's coagulated inside the vein that's just not flowing right now area.
So what's the best treatment for that? What are they doing with Wemby now? Do you think moving forward, how do they treat this thing?
Yeah, for sure. What happens whenever a blood clot happens, we have to put them on blood thinners, and that helps dissolve the clot over time. And so he'll definitely be on blood thinners for amount of time based on the blood clot, and that might be months. And so when you're on those medications, obviously you're at a risk to have more bleeding because you're on a medicine that thins the blood. So that's why you can't do things that might cause trauma or fall or things like that, just because it's riskier because your blood's thinner with those medications.
We're visiting with Dr. Josh Bell at Sports Institute at TSA OG Orthopedics. And Dr. Bell, I got to ask this because Wemby, he missed a couple of games with what the Spurs called illness. And then yesterday he was on the injury report as doubtful for tonight's game with an illness. And then we get this news today. How do you know, or how does a doctor know that you might have a blood clot? Are there symptoms that Wemby had that would tell you that could be it?
Yeah, I would say a blood clot in the arm, it's not a super common thing for us to see. So like I was saying earlier, we usually see this as an orthopedic surgeon after a surgery. And that's because, they've had a trauma from the surgery, or maybe they had a fracture and that was the trauma. And then they're not moving their leg or their arm as much because they're recovering from the surgery. So we see it, and the way we, kind of get suspicious about it is some swelling or some extra pain or things like that. When these happen and we just don't have a great explanation for them, a patient might complain of some soreness or some swelling or some other things. And then we do an investigation to find out. You could get an MRI, but usually for this, you would get an ultrasound to look at those veins to see if there's a blood clot, or sometimes they get a CT scan just to look at those. But usually for something like this, that's not a common thing. You don't hear about it in the NBA very often. So they must have had some suspicion. He must have had some kind of symptoms in the upper arm. And that's when they said, well, let's investigate this a little more. And I don't know if they got an ultrasound or a CT, but those would be two of the more common ways we find the diagnosis.
Well, Dr. Bell, having said all of that, now that they found it, they know exactly what it is, and we've talked about the blood thinners and all that. Is this something that Spurs doctors, or you, if Wemby was your patient, would you check it on a regular basis? Is this something you need to look at once a week, every day? What do you do?
Yeah, no, you don't need to look at the clot every day. What usually the main thing for a patient in this situation is you'd want to find out why it happened. And so, like we said, it sometimes happens after surgery. We usually will consult a specialist like a hematologist, a doctor that looks at the blood in those specific instances to see, is there a reason that this person got this blood clot? There could be some structural reasons, like a difference in his veins. There could be a reason, metabolically for having these. So we'd investigate that. We want to know why it happened so that we can say, hey, it's not likely to happen again, or we can really look at overall, whether he's at risk to have other clots. Because really, the main thing you worry about, and one of the reasons you put them on blood thinners, is to dissolve that clot, but you wouldn't want it to get bigger or to go to other places, because it could potentially, it's very rare, especially if you're treating them, for the blood clot to go to the lungs, and that's called the embolism. That's the thing we really worry about. Those are dangerous. They're pretty rare in this instance, and they're really rare if you're treating it properly.
Boy, no question about it. Dr. Josh Bell, I tell you, this thing, it scared the heck out of everybody. Obviously, when you're hearing blood clot and with all the things that you just said, everybody was obviously concerned. And now that Wemby's going to miss the remainder of the season, and I know you haven't looked at him or checked him out, but typically, and you say it happens a lot after surgery, typically, when is a patient up and about and being able to do normal things?
Yeah, I mean, again, you would likely be on blood thinners for at least a couple of months, 2-3 months. Sometimes we'll rescan to see if the blood clot has cleared, and then really it's a matter of really looking at all the factors as to why it happened. Is it trauma? Is it something else? So they'll be I'm sure they would do an investigation. That's what you would do with any patient, is try to find out. Like I said, usually in my situation, they don't happen very often, but when they happen, for us, it usually happens after a surgery or after a big trauma. So we have an explanation, like, oh, they had a trauma, that's why it caused this issue, or they just had a surgery, or they've been really inactive for a little while, and that's the reason. So anyway, that investigation is important to find out or have an explanation for why it happened. The treatment is at least months on the blood thinners, and then they reevaluate to see, based on all those other factors, other evidence that they've uncovered during their investigation, to say, hey, he needs to be on it longer, or he can be off it, or that's really where they make those plans later on once they know more information.
Well, Dr. Josh Bell, the best in the business. That's why we called you, sir. We appreciate your time this afternoon.
Hey, thanks so much for having me on.
Dr. Josh Bell, the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. Yeah, Wemby, I mean, you heard it on SportsCenter, I'm sure, throughout the day. Once you have blood clots and you go on these blood thinners, 6 months, no contact before you can get back into contact activities. So Ram on our YouTube live feed saying, dang, never knew how intense these blood clots are. Yeah, it's a scary, intense thing, which is why I'm not worried about the tanking or the thought process or anything more than I hope Victor Wembanyama's okay, gets healthy, and can come back safe and sound. Because when I was talking to different people this morning, hearing the facts of blood clot breaking off, going to the brain and causing a stroke, going to the heart and causing a heart attack or pulmonary embolism, or going into the lungs and causing severe breathing issues, like those, that's a very terrifying thing, especially for someone who is just recently turning 21 years old and is at the peak of health for all intents and purposes. We know what he does, how he takes care of his body. Yeah, it's terrifying to kind of think of. And, I've got a nephew that's turning 21 today. So it's can happen to anyone. And we have to be careful, take care, and look out for one another. And I wish the best for Victor Wembanyama and a speedy recovery, and to hopefully see him again at the start of next year after we get good old De'Aaron Fox re-signed to a contract. Because words this morning out of Brian Windhorst's mouth on SportsCenter, the ESPN NBA insider, is that De'Aaron Fox is expected to sign a, quote, big extension this summer, likely to remain with the Spurs for the long term. He will be eligible for a 4-year, $229 million extension this offseason with the Spurs. Going back, I was looking at Bobby Marks. He is eligible for that extension 6 months from when he was traded. He was traded February 3rd. I did the math for you. Don't worry. That is August 4th, I believe, that he can sign that extension for 4 years and $229 million. And also, if you think about it, 6 months now from the 20th, we're looking at August 20th, 21st, 22nd, that general area. 6 months for Wemby to return to contact. So August could be a very, very big month for the San Antonio Spurs as far as it pertains for the future of this franchise. And I'm very excited about the future of this franchise still. There are things that I want to see get worked out, whether it's this year, in the offseason, through the draft, whatever it may be. It may be time to go play a game of capture the flag. See what I did there? Yeah. Cooper Flag. I mean, it's about that time. We all know De'Aaron Fox is going to have a surgery on his thumb at some point this offseason, but we also want him to learn the Spurs system, learn what's going on with Chris Paul while he can, and also get acclimated to playing with players like at least Stephon Castle, as we know he will be a big part of the future going forward for the San Antonio Spurs. So maybe it's not time to shut down De'Aaron Fox just yet. We'll see as it happens tonight, because remember, Spurs are in action. De'Aaron Fox and the rest of the crew will take on the Phoenix Suns at the Moody Center, 8:30 tonight. That game will be on TNT. When we come back, the Dallas Cowboys, well, they've got to look at free agency a little bit differently this year, and some of those free agents that they have to look at are their own. The Morning Huddle was discussing things with AJ and Rob a little bit earlier this morning. We'll play that back for you. Plus, we'll close things out as Nate Ryan from Ken's 5 ended up joining Joe on the Blitz to talk about Wemby, the news, and the game tonight up there in Austin. That's all coming up here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
Friday on the Morning Huddle, back to work. How'd the Spurs do? And a recap of USA-Canada, the Four Nations final. Rob and I are also headed to Austin tonight to watch the Spurs again. We'll preview that. Party starts at 6.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson. Morning 6 to 10 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149. Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-419-2387. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-419-2387. 800-419-2387. 800-419-2387.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number Limited Edition Smart Bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Hi, Hi, welcome to Staples. Hi, I hear Staples can print it all for my business.
Oh, if you can think it, Staples can print it, and will beat any print quote.
Oh, great. I'm thinking new brochures and yard signs.
No problem.
I'm thinking calendars, t-shirts, and pens.
Totally.
I'm thinking Staples is the place for printing.
I thought you might think that.
Right now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Ends 4/5 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
At Round Table Pizza, our signature ingredients like made from scratch dough, our 3-cheese blend, and toppings all the way to the edge create your perfect pizza. Try our new pepperoni, grilled chicken, and bacon pizza, available for a limited time. You can enjoy a large for only $19.99 at participating locations. Plus, pair your pizza with our irresistible shareables. To find your nearest location or to order for pickup or delivery, head to roundtablepizza.com. That's roundtablepizza.com.
The following is a dramatization.
Davis Law Firm, how can I help?
Hi, I got hurt in a wreck, but I don't know if it's really worth getting an attorney.
Don't worry, you called the right place.
I'm Jeff Davis. At Davis Law Firm, we're here for you 24/7, and you don't pay unless we win. We recently secured a jury verdict for $210 million in a wrongful death case. So if you've been hurt, call us at 444-4444.
Davis Law Firm, San Antonio.
Don't let pain hold you back from living your best life. I'm Dr. Jason Garrett with Arasti. At Arasti, we're dedicated to providing fast, effective relief from pain. Whether you've been dealing with a chronic discomfort for years or have recently suffered an injury, our goal is to help you recover quickly. Our treatment is all natural, non-invasive, and covered by most insurance plans. With convenient locations nearby, relief is just a call away. Visit Arasti.com. That's AIRROSTI.com. Arasti, we fix pain fast.
Paid for by Hims & Hers Health. Hims & Hers Weight Loss is not available everywhere. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Restrictions at 4hers.com apply. Wegovy and Ozempic are not compounded.
With Hers, you can access doctor-trusted weight loss plans, like compounded GLP-1 weekly injections with the same active ingredient as Ozempic and Wegovy. Based on pricing through Hers, save up to 91% per month with compounded semaglutide, the same active ingredient as the name brand drug. Get started at 4hers.com/start today. That's 4hers.com/start.
Listen to 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star on your Amazon or Google smart speaker and just say, Alexa, play 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I am James Pleasure. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, all that great stuff, TikTok, at I am Pleasure. Follow the station at SA Sports Star. Appreciate everybody rolling through tonight. On YouTube, 1991 Freedom Ride asks, Pleasure, do you really believe that Jerry will actually change and allow the professional managers, coaches, and players to do what they need to do to become a relevant playoff team? It's been 30 years. Everyone can change. That is a fact. As a matter of fact, we all change as we go through life. We have different points in our lives where we like different types of music, different types of clothes. Just look back at a picture of you from 15 years ago. Your style is completely changed. I imagine your personality, while similar, has aspects that have changed. Everybody changes. And I do believe Jerry can change. Now, as it pertains to allowing players and people and stuff to do what they got to do, that's a hard sell. Because he has been very his way or the highway. Now, his way has changed over the years. He was the guy that would go out and spend a whole bunch of money in free agency. He hasn't really done that since Brandon Carr. Although, if you just look a few years ago, he supplemented free agency with trades that allowed him to bring in players on expiring deals, whether it was Brandon Cooks or Stephon Gilmore, to actually help improve the team. Go get Amari Cooper a few years ago, to go get Jonathan Hankins to help shore up the run game on the defensive line. Like, there have been moves that Jerry Jones has made to help make this team a better team and compete. So to act like last year wasn't the aberration of all the other years of him as an owner is dumb, because he has been active. He has done things. He has done things in different ways than he did when he went out and spent money on any and everyone he wanted back in the 90s. But there's a reason for that, because there's a salary cap now, which is prohibitive to actually being able to do things like that. Now, the biggest change will come if we see it in how he handles Micah Parsons, Dak Prescott, and CeeDee Lamb this offseason. He can open up a ton of money restructuring some deals. Now, if he were able to get Micah done early, to get Dak's deal restructured, which Dak alone can clear up about $40 million worth of space. He is a $90 million cap hit almost. That is something that he can just, with a stroke of a pen, change in an instant before free agency even starts. CeeDee Lamb, same thing. He can clear up money that way, doing things like that. Probably clear up some money with Terrence Steele. You would create a hole or a vacuum at a position, but you could also free up some money to delegate other resources to that. But it'll be very interesting to see how he handles it, because they do one thing they do. They do sign their own guys. And the Cowboys have some big names that are free agents coming up. Defensive free agency. How will the Cowboys attack it? Well, the Morning Huddle was talking about it this morning right here on 94.1.
There is a story on CBS about the best defensive players available in free agency. And it got me to wondering, as the Cowboys defense is, I don't want to say in shambles, but it's got problems.
Mm-hmm.
It's got problems. And I wanted to see if any of these guys you think are a fit. The number one guy on the list is probably not a fit. He is it's Josh Sweat, Eagles outside linebacker Josh Sweat. Cowboys have their own guy that is in that mold, a better version of that in Micah that they are going to have to pay.
And Sam's here. They got mobile linebackers. Dan Quinn liked that style, so they've got a couple of those guys.
Yeah, but he is considered the best available defensive player in free agency. Linebacker Zach Bond is another Eagle, is number 2. He just made a switch to inside linebacker. He signed a 1-year, $3.5 million contract and agreed to switch positions. And in that 1 year, made Pro Bowl, first team All-Pro. Like, I got to give kudos to that. They say, hey, man, you're an outside linebacker, edge rusher. You're now an inside linebacker. We're going to give you a little bit of money on a 1-year deal to figure this out. And you make first team All-Pro. Respect. Somebody's going to pay him. I would imagine it'll be the Eagles. This is good news if you are a Cowboy, though, a Cowboy fan. The top 3 on this list all come from the Philadelphia Eagles.
Which means they're exiting.
Defensive tackle Milton Williams is the third guy on this list. He's the one that I would think the Cowboys would be most interested in. But I think he's going to get probably more money than the Cowboys can afford to throw out.
Let's skip to the free agents that do offensive things like linemen. Are there any of those?
This is just the top defensive free agents.
Okay. What about defensive guys that are actually close to the ball? Are there any of those?
Well, that one was the first one. Milton Williams is the first one. The next defensive tackle that comes up on the list is Osa, number 7.
Well, that makes sense. So Cowboys,
he'll get it says he'll get a. His pressures were the most at the position in the entire NFL this season, the second most behind only Zach Allen at 75. So he's going to get paid. He's going to get a good long-term deal somewhere, and I don't think it's going to be the Cowboys.
Well, sadly, they're one of their few hits in free agency and drafting is going to have to leave because he can't afford it.
Yes, more than likely.
Right. Anybody else with their foot in that, with their
hand
knuckle in the dirt?
There is another Cowboy on the list, not a knuckle in the dirt, but Jordan Lewis comes in at number 17. It says one of the NFL's most versatile defensive backs, mainly a nickel, but played outside corner well when the all-pro corners, Deron Bland and Trayvon Diggs, pressed him into duty. The injuries pressed him into duty. His football IQ makes him a strong blitzer and instinctual against the run. He just turns 30 before the season begins, but he'd be a great addition to any squad's secondary and locker room.
the best thing that could happen to Jordan Lewis is to leave.
I think so too.
He is so underappreciated with the Cowboys, and there's a reason behind it. He's our third best cornerback.
Yeah,
and he needs to get played and play like their best cornerback. He's gone and probably needs to leave.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think he'll go on and be a very good player someplace else.
It's the one spot where the Cowboys have depth.
Yeah.
Although last year you wouldn't have known it because of the injuries, but it's the one spot on defense where you feel like the Cowboys are kind of covered and you've got almost a glut of talent there. And Jordan Lewis is too good to be sitting around.
It's too bad that we can't move him for product, but it is what it is. Let him go with God.
Number 21 on the list is DeMarcus Lawrence.
Nope.
Says
fare thee well.
He'll be turning 33, but he showed he can still be a disruptor on the edge. 3 sacks, a forced fumble, 4 tackles for loss in 4 weeks of play before he injured his foot. It says if he can join a team that already has a clear-cut number 1 edge rusher, he can be a fine complement to that player as a starter on the opposite side of the defensive line.
A yeoman who was paid and treated like a star. He's been a very good football player, but treated and paid better than what he's offered. And he's offered a fair amount. I mean, he's been a very good football player, but he has never been what was being paid to do.
Here's an interesting option for the Cowboys. Levi Onwuzurike from the Lions, the defensive lineman who kind of played all over their defensive front when he plays. That's the issue with him. It says he's got the build, 6'3", 290, and skill set to be a versatile impact player along any team's defensive line. He's still not even 27, but through 4 NFL seasons, he's missed 25 games to injury. It says if he can improve his durability, he's a value signing on the open market with the ability on the interior and on the edge. To me, that's interesting if you're the Cowboys because yes, there's injury concern like there is with every football player, but if you're getting value because of that on a player that has a higher ceiling, that's something the Cowboys need to look for.
And also, somebody else has graded that talent. For me, I don't trust their eyes sometimes. And if the guy is still in the league and it's the only reason, that he hasn't been a player is because he hasn't been healthy, that's enough to get him here. But to me, more than anything else is the Lions liked him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we've liked some people that everybody hated. Nobody was chasing Mozzie Smith in the first round. We were.
You don't want a guy that the Cowboys
exactly. So you tell me you like him, I might like him too.
So there you go. That's the guys who maybe could help out. I think.
You know what you're telling me, AJ, is there's not an answer at defensive line. If they're going to get something, it's going to have to be through the draft.
I tend to think that is the case
because any one of those guys is probably going to be far more expensive than we want to pay. Not that they're going to be really expensive, just to us, it's going to look really, really high for a short-term benefit and an imminent exit. I just think they're going to have to end up drafting, and I don't like that at all.
And you might end up having to draft a Michigan defensive lineman who may be the best player on the board. And I know that triggers some Cowboy fans, but much like Ohio State quarterbacks before C.J. Stroud, you can't judge a player because of his position and where he went to school. Not all players are created the same. Kenneth Grant and other defensive linemen out of Michigan, both first-round linemen. They are not Taco Charlton. They are not Mozzie Smith. Saw on our YouTube chat, Fred Casares says, well, now that Jerry Jones has to change his draft strategy on drafting players due to Zach Martin retiring. That's not true, in my opinion. I think the Cowboys line is okay. I think Clayton Adams and Connor Riley have a chance to coach up what is there. And B, I thought the line played extremely well down the stretch after Zach Martin got hurt when Tyler Bass had to fill in and Brock Hoffman had to fill in, and you had Cooper Beebe and Tyler Guyton. Like, I thought that was a good line combination, and I thought it played extremely well down the stretch. And I don't know if I have to force a lineman early in the draft again just because Zach Martin is retiring, because you did get decent play down the stretch. And I think people forget how well the offensive line played down the stretch just because of how bad the team was. The line still played good. You had a 1,000-yard rusher in Rico Dowdle. You ran the ball effectively down the stretch after the injury to Dak Prescott when Mike McCarthy was forced to actually try and run the ball after he tried to throw it 50 times with Cooper Rush in those first couple of games. It's amazing what happens when you actually commit to something and how good things can actually be. And Brian Schottenheimer's mantra is that he wants to run the football and use play action off of that. And that could be very good for Dak Prescott, because that may have been the best version of Dak Prescott we ever saw his rookie year when they were 13-3. You got to give it a chance. Like, I know we love to react to things in the moment and how good or bad something can possibly be. But sometimes it does take a second. It does need a breath. And we actually do have to give something a chance before we can actually criticize how bad something is going to be, because sometimes it might just surprise you. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star. And I hate being the guy that has to defend the Cowboys. My goodness gracious. It makes me sick to my stomach. I am James Pledger here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. We'll put a bow on the show, talk a little bit about what went on during the Blitz with Nate Ryan, and your calls and conversations as it pertains to Victor Wembanyama or the retirement of Zach Martin. However you want to do it. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. This is Extra Innings with Pledger.
San Antonio Sports Star.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-505-9603, 800-505-9603, 800-505-9603.
The Blitz is going to Vegas. Come along for an unforgettable Mega March weekend at Circa Las Vegas, March 27th through the 30th for opening day and the second weekend of the tournament. Thursday, March 27th, celebrate the start of the baseball season and watch all the games at the world's largest sportsbook, plus the ultimate March Hoops experience. Take in the action in the 6 pools and the 143-foot screen at Stadium Swim. Book now and use promo code BLITZ at circalasvegas.com. And join Jason and Joe at Circa Resort and Casino.
The most exciting weekend in college basketball starts here. Don't miss the 2025 State Farm College Slam Dunk and 3-Point Championships, Thursday, April 3rd at the Frost Bank Center. Get your tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. One night, pure action. Don't miss it.
Hey, nice job, Pete. I like those clean lines. Fellas, do we have anyone that can get to Greenport today?
At Corey's Landscaping, the staffing plan is in the weeds.
Anthony, we need that leaf blower over here. 3 more new customer requests just came in. Who wants to work some overtime?
He needs to dig up quality landscapers, and fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
It's Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pledger right here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, SASportsStar.com, or on YouTube at SA Sports Star. Go ahead, like, subscribe. You can comment along with what's going on now. It's Wemby's obviously the biggest topic of the day, even more so than Zach Martin retiring, even more so than name said sports story that could come across the wire today. Wemby is the draw in San Antonio, and the draw has been closed for the season as he is dealing with a deep vein thrombosis, which is basically a blood clot in his right shoulder. And fatigue was one of the symptoms, and he did look gassed at the end of games, and now that's starting to figure things out. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, De'Aaron Fox needs surgery on his thumb. Might as well shut him down now and, go play a game of capture the flag and get Cooper Flag at the beginning of next year. De'Aaron Fox still has to play with these guys. He's still got to develop a rapport. He's still got to understand the system. He's still got to learn to play with guys like Stephon Castle, who's going to be a part of this team moving forward, and hopefully Harrison Barnes. So I say don't throw the baby out with the bathwater yet. If De'Aaron Fox wants to finish out the season, or at least a good, healthy portion of it, maybe actually play a home game in San Antonio at some point this year, I wouldn't be mad about it. This has been Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports. I appreciate all y'all for riding along with me today. Make sure to check on your loved ones. You never know what they're going through in life. Simple phone call can help. And don't forget, tomorrow, join Joe out at the clubhouse out there by Brackenridge Park, 2300 Avenue B, Flight by Yingling, our golf tournament kickoff party. There's going to be free beer and a putting contest, as Flight by Yingling is giving you a chance to win their foursome into our golf tournament. So you could be a part of it without having to pay that $400 to get in. That is tomorrow, 2 to 6 out at the clubhouse. And don't forget to check out Rob and AJ starting tomorrow morning right here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, starting at 6. We'll see y'all tomorrow, guys.
The John Clay Wolf Show. Here's what's going on in the Wolf Pack.
Golden.
Yes.
How are you this morning?
I am going to tell you how to save your marriage.
Okay.
You said something about motorcycles. Do you like motorcycles or cars?
Me, I like dirt